Hello, Stouffville. This is Charlene with Off the Top, WhiStle Radio 102.7 FM here in beautiful downtown Stouffville. And I have in the studio with me Councillor Phil Bannon talking about all of the ways in which this town is going to be served by his being the mayor.
Charlene, I just want to thank you for inviting me to be part of this program again. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's a joy. It really is a joy, Phil, as I was saying earlier, and on the danger that this becomes a kind of mutual patting on the back. I will say that, as I said just before the break, for those of you who are joining, that I was as cynical as the rest and absolutely disabused of the notion that politicians did anything until in the last 11 years. And when I met you, frankly, I was still cynical. I didn't necessarily show it, or maybe I did, but you have changed my mind. You've single-mindedly and single-handedly changed my attitude because you've actually accomplished a great deal at the lake. And that's why I know, when you say you will accomplish things, your record tells me that you will. So I would like to know, for the sake of all of our listeners, what are your ideas about transit in downtown Stouffville, where there are difficulties, and in the outer areas which don't get serviced by much of the public transit system?
That's a great issue to talk about. And it's an issue that I know a lot of people in Stouffville are not prepared to deal with because they're not aware of as much expansion and the need for transit as we have now. When I was first elected in 2003, the population was in the area of 22,000. 2003, 22,000 people. Now here we are 11 years later and the population is 43,000 people.
And growing.
Mm-hmm. As everyone should know by now, our long-term plan is to reach 60,000 in 2031. Mm-hmm. But I want people to be aware of the fact that we are the second smallest community in the GTA right now.
Ah.
We are the second fastest, if not the first fastest growing municipality in Canada right now.
Wow.
So that scares people.
Yes.
That scares people when they hear that. But here's the end all of it. In 2031, we're gonna cap out at 60,000 people. Mm-hmm. We are still going to be the second smallest municipality.
No kidding.
Absolutely. The only smaller community will be King, which is smaller than us right now. When you look at East Gwillimbury, 20,000 people right now. They're going to climb to 80,000 people over the next 10, 12 years. Wow. Unbelievable growth up in the northern areas. And this is growth that has to be managed. And we've had a really, really good, strong management plan in place in this council. We've done very well with building our infrastructure to go along with the increase in the population and having our facilities and our leisure services facilities and our parks. And you know what? It's a community that aspires to greatness because people are intrigued by the facilities, the programs, and the smile on people's faces every day in the downtown area. Mm-hmm. I am so enthused by, and I guess the best example of it was during the Strawberry Festival, mm-hmm. when I saw the number of young families, young mothers, perhaps pregnant, pushing a baby carriage, and dad walking with the third child, and or two children, and that's the future of Stouffville. All these wonderful young families that have come here to join with us and live in what I consider to be the best community in Ontario, and the safest community in Ontario. But what comes with growth are issues like transit. What we've attracted is younger families. And younger families are stepping out maybe just a bit beyond their financial means, but they've got to get started in the housing market. And we have one of the most impressive housing markets in Canada. We're within 40 to 45 minutes of downtown Toronto. And when I mean downtown Toronto, I'm talking Front and
Adelaide,
Yonge Street.
Yep, absolutely. Bay and Adelaide,
it's
absolutely.
incredible, the short distance. And people like yourself who are living the life that within 42 to 45 minutes, you're lakeside, you've got the fresh air, the beautiful view, the beautiful country view. And here we are in beautiful downtown Stouffville. And these families have to work.
Yes.
And most of them are in a situation where they're just starting off and having their first and second children, and there's still two full-time jobs required. So we need daycare service.
Yes.
We need transit service, and that transit service has to take them from their home to another transit system.
Yes.
We need connectivity, and that connectivity to me is an expanded transit system in this town that can provide for us the transit needs of those new young families in the southern Hoover Park area and over in the 10th line and Hoover Park areas and over by the Walmart section.
Yes.
Provide them with the transit to the GO trains and or to the GO buses.
Right.
That gives them the connectivity to get downtown.
Yes.
The concern is we don't have ongoing regular transit programs in town. We need to expand that. We need transit shelters. We have to provide people, if they're going to walk out and they're going to wait for a bus, let's provide them with some shelters and some benches and some conveniences so that if they're going to wait 20 minutes, if they're going to wait 15, 20 minutes for a bus.
In the middle of winter sometimes.
And I love it when I see people waiting at a bus station because that means we're growing and we're using the transit.
Yes.
And so that's one of the main issues that I am going to work on as the mayor is a strong focus with York Region Transit to expand the transit routes in Stouffville. We have just provided our first connectivity.
Oh.
Other than the one down to Markham. As you may know, and all do, that if you wanna go to Newmarket, Aurora, Richmond Hill, or Markham, you have to get on the transit over at the 9th line and Main Street connection.
Yes.
And then at the Parkview homes area. And then you have to travel down to the Markham-Stouffville Hospital, where you catch a Highway 7 bus that takes you across Highway 7 to Yonge Street, which provides you with a transit bus that takes you north on Yonge Street. So it may take you an hour and a half to get to Aurora, Richmond Hill, or Newmarket. Then you've got the route coming back.
Right.
We have now finally provided a connection across Main Street. There's a new route that's been established, and that provides us with a connection at Stouffville Main Street, which connects with Bathurst.
Oh.
Yes. So we have that connection now that we're providing that connectivity.
That's excellent.
It's absolutely excellent. And we're connecting with Yonge Street. What I'm looking for is that inner city connection for the young families to get them to the GO train downtown because we find that our GO train parking is full.
Yes.
And it's full because the people are starting to take the GO train at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And we have, I think, six trains, I think, that are leaving town in the morning.
Wow.
And there's a gap. There's a big gap between 7:32 and I think 8:20, 8:25.
Okay.
We've got to get another GO train in there.
Yes.
We've got to fill that gap for people who are dropping off their kids at school.
Yes.
Who are dropping off their mates at the office.
That's right.
Or a daycare and or whatever. And so we've got to work with the province to provide more GO transit.
Yes.
We do have the buses in place, but we have to establish a stronger route system for our residents.
Now, if I can just jump in here for a moment, Phil, what I'm putting together in my brain is that has to do with the ability to go to the region and say in a strong and powerful way, in spite of the fact that we are the smallest, because there's going to be 4 and 5 larger communities, cities that are going to be in there saying, well, we are the largest, we have the greatest tax base, we're the ones that you should be paying attention to. Would you address some of that to us, please?
That's one of the concerns that the residents of Stouffville have to have on October the 28th, the day after the election, is that you're electing a mayor who is going to be going to regional council as your regional council representative. He's going to be sitting at the table with the mayor of Markham, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, Newmarket, Aurora, King. And when you look at the big picture, those are the standard towns who have controlled the region for years and years and years. And we need someone who can stand up strong, someone who can represent our concerns and demand respect and responsibility from them.
And if I have it right, you've been on that board. You've been at the region for at least a few years.
You know, and we need to continue a strong representation over there. So people have to keep that in mind, that we need a strong voice of reason, with somebody who's got that knowledge and experience and respect of the other mayors.
That's right.
We have to understand
Because
they demand, because they are the controlling agents at the region when they've got 4 or 5 representatives on that regional board.
Right.
So with that in place, as you may know, I've always believed in connectivity.
Yes.
And I've always worried about the lack of connectivity in Stouffville. I have been asking for a route adjustment by York Region that would take a bus line, whether it's once an hour or once every 2 hours, north on 9th Line into Musselman's Lake, up through Ballantrae, across Aurora Road that would connect with Newmarket.
I can't tell you what a huge difference that would make for the people in Musselman Lake. Just like myself, people who are ready to just get on a bus and come to town or anything just to go around. You can't do it without a car now.
It makes too much sense.
Yeah, it does.
To not do it.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been common sense must prevail at some time. So we sit back. Now we're providing connectivity to Aurora.
Yes.
From Stouffville. So the people who want to go to Aurora, who live in Stouffville, can actually get on this bus.
Yes.
Not just the people who live in Musselman's Lake and in Ballantrae who want to get there.
Exactly.
So and it also connects you with the GO Transit on the 404 at Aurora Road. There's a huge GO Transit station there.
There is indeed.
This is tremendous. I'm seeing, and every time that we expand our leisure services programs in town, and that we build new facilities, I say this is great because we're providing the services and the facilities for our residents in Stouffville.
In town, yes.
In town. Now, not all the kids in town can get to those facilities and programs. They need transit.
Yes.
But what we need most of all is we need to provide that transit for residents who don't live in this town, who pay the taxes that build those facilities and provide those services, like all the kids who live in Musselman's Lake and who live in Ballantrae, who can't get to town because they don't have the transportation. Parents are working, parents are too busy.
Right.
Provide them with the access, the transit ability to get down to our new parks and our new pools and our new water ponds and our, I look at our skateboard park. I think of the kids up in Musselman's Lake who would love to come down here and spend a couple of hours on that park and then go into the leisure services center.
And to have the independence, being on that public system does something about, it's that transition point between being completely dependent on mom and dad and having your own vehicle.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to just get in the car, on the bus as a young person and say, I'm doing this on my own. You've absolutely nailed it. That's exactly true.
But you know what's really important too, Charlene, is the fact that we have Shadow Lake up there.
Yes.
Which is a Toronto-run park, which is absolutely a fantastic park and facility for all of Ontario, especially for Toronto. We have the Cedar Beach Park and Pavilion facilities, and now we have Fishbone Restaurant up there. Now, who works at Shadow Beach, at the Shadow Park? They've got 88 employees there.
That's extraordinary.
88 employees, and they have over 300 kids who go to that every week, who are in that provision
Astonishing.
every week. We have Cedar Beach Park with over 3,500 residents in the summer. Our population in Musselman's Lake grows by 3,500 people who go to the trailer park in the summer, and we now have the Fishbone Restaurant, who have 40 employees now. Those employees of all those facilities need transit to get to work.
Phil, I love your energy and your enthusiasm as always. Councillor Bannon, you have done us a great favor by coming in today and expressing that enthusiasm so that people in Stouffville can understand the passion and the commitment and the devotion, the dedication and the drive that you have, as well as the experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlene.
And Stouffville, that's it for another moment with Off the Top. Charlene, your host at WhiStle Radio 102.7 FM. As you're going through your day, remember, be good to each other. Bye for now.